everyone. Before I start, let's refresh ourselves a little bit. Look to your left and look to your right. Say maybe a hi, a hello, good morning. Have you even greeted them this morning? Well, now imagine the first thing they say is, so you chose to wear that, right, today? Who dressed you up this morning? How will you react? Maybe you become defensive? Sorry, I don't mean to sound provocative, but this actually is a common occurrence between teenagers just because someone decides to dress differently. Isn't that weird? Especially in the outside world, people decide to wear very differently. Of course, right now, it is not that effective since we are using our uniforms and we are following the rules. But actually, that already speaks very loudly itself. It describes what we are, who we are. And of course, what we wear shows our identities, our groups, and our values. Ultimately, what we are showing is us. It is me. Good morning, teachers and friends. My name is Michelle, and I will be sharing my findings on how fashion trends on TikTok influence teenagers' social acceptance in Surabaya. Did you know that 67.75% of people are active on social media out of the total global population? And I'm sure this is not a surprise because technology in our digital era is often used everywhere and for everything. The use of social media ranges significantly. A big chunk goes to fashion. Even though we might not realize it, it is simply integrated subconsciously into everything that we do on social media. For example, this graph shows that fashion enthusiasts use social media for different things, and of which TikTok becomes a big part of it and a very big platform with a lot of content with fashion as its most discoverable one. This is why I use TikTok specifically for this research. So for this research, there are some key theories that you should know that I will reference in my presentation. Firstly, it's on TikTok's part. On the side of Foster and Baker, it focuses on the exposure that TikTok allows us to experience. It allows subcultures to be freely expressed among us, which conveys conventional norms and challenges it. Other than that, Joe discusses the algorithm part of TikTok, which means that TikTok recommends viral content that is personalized and creates a sense of belonging. Now, what about fashion? The International Journal of Home Science says that teenagers not only communicate, but also explore their personal and social identities through fashion. And Genova adds that it acts as a tool of self-expression and a medium for youth to advocate certain values. So how does this actually influence? According to Larson and Vinstra, it positively encourages peer influence and promotes learning and identity formation rather than forced conformity. Alongside with Tensia, which highlights the differences between cultures that affects how teenagers understand and follow fashion trends around the world. For the data collection process of my research, I will be using two methods, qualitative and quantitative. which will be carried out by survey and interview. Survey participants will be filtered out through gender, age, and validity, which the age will be among 13 to 19-year-olds as teenagers, which is dominant on 15 to 17, and gender will be mostly dominated by female, while the validity shows that all of them are coming from Surabaya and all of them are active users of TikTok. Other than that, the interviewees will be Agnes and Miss Melly. The first key finding that I found is that exposure on TikTok of the fashion content on TikTok is largely viewed and is always seen on TikTok by these teenagers. It frequently shows what influencers are wearing, and the algorithm is shaping how teenagers act towards other teenagers who are wearing unconventional trends. Fashion on TikTok has become a subconscious part of teenagers' digital life as casual content becomes a daily identity shaping force. Other than that, this is the actual response from the teenagers towards how fashion trends are appearing in our daily lives. How they adopt and how they abandon these trends are somewhat balanced. It shows that teenagers selectively adopt trends, and self-consistency is conflicting with belonging. Other than that, fashion as the identity is a key tool, not just an appearance. And teenagers actually recognize that TikTok plays a big part in this, and both can be present: personal identity and influence of trends. Individuality is expressed but suited to styles that users adopt to express themselves. Then social and peer dynamics are seen to have a conflict between global trends and local reality. This graph shows how teens believe their peers do not strongly accept unconventional fashion, and it actually is the same with when they are wearing the fashion and how they feel like they are accepted or not. In Indonesia's value-based context, global trends are very culturally filtered throughout being accepted. And there is a pressure to avoid this judgment, so some people prefer not to actually adopt some trends. And what if the filters aren't enough? Well, fashion can be a way that these teenagers rebel and actually use these fashion trends as something that is negative, but is dari sengaja. And next is about the social judgment, which this graph shows that respondents tend to judge fashions, and there is a social evaluation and comparison between these trends in teenagers. Coexistence of fear-based and support-based socialization is present, where there is a social shield and a bridge protecting them from judgment while connecting them to others through shared aesthetics. Lastly, this is a direct comparison of how teenagers actually choose the picture on the right, which is a more today trend that is present right now, rather than the left one. Relating it to the SDG that is present is the inequality one, Why? Because, well, based on the findings, fashion defines who fits in, and treatment is based on fashion. Whether you are accepted or not is seen through just your article of clothing. And fashion shouldn't be defining, it is just a choice and it isn't constant. As much as it is a cliche, the main point is we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. So what is the solution? First, we should promote education and awareness, while influencers should also support trends that align with Indonesian values. Overall, we cannot control what the media shows. What we can control is our mindset. Stop normalizing a culture where judgment over others is justified. With all these steps, we can redefine fashion as a place of belonging. Change starts with how we respond. Encourage acceptance over judgment. Everyone, let's make fashion a bridge, not a barrier. Thank you for listening to my presentation. God bless you.